All right. This is a city council meeting for the city of Bonney Lake for February 22nd, 2022. Could everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. All right, we did have a announcement from the governor a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, that will not go into effect until March 21st. Therefore, we still have a mandate in government buildings that you are supposed to wear a mask inside the government building. However, the way that we are handling this now is that since we are responsible for all staff members and members of the public, we give them the opportunity to step out of the building and go to an alternative area so that they can witness the meeting. Does anybody wish to do that before we begin? Okay. Madam Clerk, could you call roll, please?
Mayor McCullough.
I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Fullerton.
Here.
Councilmember McClymon.
Here.
Councilmember Swatman.
Present.
And Councilmember Watson.
Here. Okay, now we move on to agenda modifications. I don't believe we have any agenda modifications. Is there an appointment, Madam Clerk?
Yes. This will be Agenda Bill AB 2230. The council motion would be to ratify the mayor's appointment of Melissa Munson Merritt to Design Commission position number 4 with a term ending April 6th of 2024.
So moved. Second. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Ms. Munson Merritt is now on the Design Commission. We have public, I don't believe we have a public hearing, so we'll go on citizen comments. This time for citizens to approach the lectern, you will have 5 minutes. If you do come up to the lectern, please state your name clearly and your address.
Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Directors, Sergeant at Arms, and especially our new council person. Congratulations. And person speaking, best person won. Thank you. Mandates. I mandate all of you wear a ponytail to the council meeting. Well, who the hell am I? I have no right to mandate it. Make it a law. No, I cannot do that. So, only Representative Senate, State of Washington, can make a law. What is a mandate? It's a suggestion. It's not something you have to do. I don't have to wear this mask if I don't want to. Put me in jail. I'll sue the hell out of you and win. I'm wearing it out of respect to the council and only out of respect. What I'm saying is, if a person does not wish to wear a mask, they don't have to. There's been many studies about this mask, your mask, all the masks in this room. What are they doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're not protecting you from a virus. They're not protecting you from anything. They're making me short of breath speaking to you. Well, that might be a good thing. But the point is, mandates are not law. The point is, when we have a governor up there saying, I'm going to fire you if you don't do this, I'm going to fire you if you don't do that, he can't do that. That's illegal, immoral, and really, really, really outrageously wrong. Thank you, council.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Anybody else for the good of the order? Oh, okay, we have a person standing, but our person raising their hand. Okay.
Greetings. Mike Miner, 13813 Prairie Ridge Drive. First, I want to thank each and every one of you for trying to make our lives better around here. Thank you. The lack of parenting skills, I think, is the number one cause of crime and homelessness. I'm no saint, but my folks taught us that there's such a thing as consequences. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And freedom requires responsibility and things. There should be no such thing as a litter bug or people having to pick up other people's illegal dumping and all. It's unacceptable. And I wish one politician would come out and start harping about the importance of real parenting skills. I have recently been excited to read, well, this one lady, a commentary in the paper, Lori Boardman, Why Family is Key to the Nation's Recovery, and I'll pass copies out in case you guys didn't read that. Also, this Palestine Chaos by Learning to Lead by James Mattis. Whether you're Secretary of Defense or a parent or a grandparent, it's hard to put down. There is so much good information, and I highly recommend it. And God bless and thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else for the good of the order?
Hello, my name is Chris Blake, and I live at 12306 132nd Ave East in Puyallup. I am an employee with the City of Bonney Lake, working as a maintenance worker 3, and I am also the policy chair for AFSCME Local 120, which represents nearly 100 employees at the City of Bonney Lake. The reason I am speaking today with the support of my union brothers and sisters is because we share some serious concerns regarding the wage proposal for non-represented workers. Let me first state that our union is not against increasing the wages for those employees. We understand how important it is to keep these positions competitive and to recruit quality candidates. However, looking to the proposal, the minimum and maximum wages are set to increase anywhere from 4% all the way up to 15%. In addition, it should also be noted that if we look back to 2011, union employees are only 1% ahead of the non-represented when compared to the CPI. From a pure economic standpoint, this proposal creates an even larger disparity between my members and our supervisors, directors, and managers. Aside from the economic disparity this proposal exacerbates, it will also drastically lower morale amongst workers in the general unit and will undoubtedly lead to even more departures. Again, we are not opposed to wage increases for the non-reps, but the fact of the matter is employees are overworked, they're short-staffed, and only enjoy a 2.5% cost of living adjustment this year, while inflation continues to soar, and those at the top of the wage scale see these larger increases. Therefore, we urge the City Council to reconsider this proposal, or at the very least, go back and re-examine represented workers using the same wage. Thank you.
Have we anybody else for the good of the order?
I did have one virtual one.
I was just about to say that, Madam Clerk. So do we have a virtual comment?
To the city clerk, I want this read to the council, and it is entirety at the council meeting on February 22nd of 2022. My name is Quinn Dahlstrom. Council and Mayor, I wish to speak about the new council member who seems to have no respect for herself, her family, the council, the mayor, employees, and the citizens of this city, in that she refuses to wear a mask at a council meeting. She took an oath of office to follow the laws of the federal government, the state, county, and the city, and she is in violation of at least 3 of the laws. If she cannot wear a mask during council workshop meetings or etc., whereas the council, mayor, employees, and citizens are present, then she should go home and be at the meeting via phone or computer. She has no right to sit there with her nose uncovered, breathing in and out, and perhaps filling the room with either the flu or COVID-19. Everything she touches, if she touches her face, is being contaminated by her not wearing the mask. Airborne diseases can be escaping as she. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I will announce one more time. Anybody else for the good of the order before we continue? Okay, hearing none, we will move to committee reports. Do we have a finance committee, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a personnel update. So open recruitments, we still have a lateral police officer position for those, exceptional police officer, emergency management coordinator. We have a couple of those, but they're going to extend the opportunity to put in applications. Construction inspector, the interviews are scheduled for the 25th of next month. I'm sorry, this month. Meter reader, because one of our employees was promoted, so that's awesome. Youth sport official is on continuous. Before and after program assistant is continuous. Senior service assistant is open. Building inspector, an internal opening, and public works maintenance worker 3. Positions filled are the HR generalist, is filled on the 16th. Senior center assistant on 22nd today started. Admin assistant 2 starts tomorrow, and the community services officer will start March 7th. And there's a part-time non-reg, which is the after-school program assistant, PM site assistant, filled with 1 day. We had a discussion in regards to the Comcast cable franchise, and then we approved our minutes.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Community Development Committee, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Community Development Committee did meet on February 15th. A couple items of business. I can get the owl over here. It's not hearing me still. Okay, so sorry to the public for the owl thing. The remote users have a problem hearing us here. It's not our mics here. It's owl apparently that picks up audio. So our items of business include resolution that was forwarded tonight for the kitchen equipment for the new Public Works Center. That equipment, of course, the only reason we see it at this level is because the staff was smart enough to recognize that they could purchase that and not have a markup on it. So you may note that it's obviously than the industrial equipment, but yet it is actually a lot cheaper to buy it if we were buying it. So thank you staff for bringing that forward to us. That was recommended for approval for tonight's agenda. Also, approve the signing of professional services agreement for survey and design services for our sidewalk extensions that we're working on. Been many years in the making, of course. Staff's been doing a lot of work. They've been mainly going through the projects, identifying which ones are the ones that connect pieces together and so forth. I think the council's been informed of that before, and that is a actual design. So they'll come have the packages ready so that they can go to bid for those sidewalk sections that are missing out there in many different locations. We approved our minutes, and then I don't remember all the open discussion. I know that we had a discussion around the we call it City Works Computer Maintenance Management System. That's the thing that captures all the labor hours and such out there. So as you get all the tasks and resources into the computer system so that we can identify the costs and hopefully optimize those. Those were our items of business. So, anybody has any questions like usual, you can call me on my cell phone. It's listed on the web page. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Swatman. Public Safety Committee, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Safety's next meeting is Tuesday, March 8th at 3:30 p.m. on the second floor of this building.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Evans. I don't see any other reports. So let's move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Okay, the consent agenda has been adopted. Okay, now we're moving to Finance Committee issues. Item A, Madam Clerk, could you read full title, please?
This is item A, which is ordinance D 22-32. The council motion would be to amend ordinance number 1659 relating to salaries for non-represented employees.
So moved. Second.
Okay, have we any discussion on this matter? Okay, Deputy Mayor Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question or a statement in regards to Blake just brought up. When is the next ASME contractor? When is this one?
We just settled the contract for 3 years, so it would come up in December of 2023. Or would expire in 2024.
Okay, was that it?
Yeah, that's all I know.
Okay, anybody else have any further discussion? Okay, Councilmember Watson.
We're always in our discussions when these contracts come forward, we try and do the very best for our union employees, take care of them, give them not only raises but benefits that other people aren't entitled to all the time, or not, they're entitled to it, but don't get it part of their contract. Always making sure to do the very best for them. And I think we also need to do the very best for non-union employees also in the city. I think I'm going to vote for this tonight. We should be taking care of them just like we do for the union employees.
Thank you, Councilmember Watson. Any other further discussion on this matter? Oh, Councilmember Evans.
Oh, I was trying to point to you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, I took away.
No problem. So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things on the proposed ordinance here, because my understanding, and I want council have full understanding of most of, so we had that one, the assistant police chief position on here, which I understand is going in possibly into a bargaining unit, but it's not listed on this particular matrix for pay, so. Okay with that. A lot of times, the council legislative branch uses this particular aspect to add and or remove and authorize positions, basically, right? It's our tool to make sure that people get paid and the executive can pay them, right? So that's why it's really important that this be done well, so that we can make sure that people have the legal authority to pay people and that people stay out of jail for not paying people who are not supposed to be paying them. This particular effort, as I think pointed out by one of the public comment folks, is more than just a raise. I don't know if that's kind of apparent to everybody. This is actually kind of a rebanding thing, is what I call it, right? We're actually looking at the positions out there, and we did it based on a market analysis study. Was my kind of thing. I just want to go through the whole explanation. We use Sumner's data, of course, that they did the study. We're not, being like Sumner. But we used the study that was done at Sumner, which is a similar city. They went out there and they picked up a bunch of cities that are called comparables, and then they go through and pick the top 3, I guess. Is that top 3? That's a little concerning to me a little bit, because some of the cities that they chose, of course, were very large cities, and the theory was that they claimed that that's where they're losing their employees to. They use a comparable like an Auburn, a Federal Way, possibly a Kent or something like that, and we're all well aware that those cities are very much larger than our city, so But it's very well done. You know, these are not a trivial effort. It takes a lot of time and effort to do these labor studies to get to the point where you understand where there's a low pay and a high pay for these positions. So doing it on this type of a scale, I was hoping that the mayor was going to come forth earlier and have some kind of input on the structure that the mayor wanted to use in the city, but that's kind of the mayor's thing to do, and we haven't done that or won't do that or whatever's going on there. But at any rate, you know, as pointed out, some of these raises are pretty extreme, but it is market based, right? You know, you have to look at it and you have to realize that the cities that are out there that are paying your city engineer, you know, the pay that the city engineer is at today is under market. So even though you look at it and say, well, you know, that was an $18,000 a year raise that you're going to give that person, that's a pretty substantial raise. So that's where you get into that little comparable thing that might be a little bit of a, but still, you know, it does end up being the market wage, and that market wage where you have to go with it. So you end up with those things. But, you know, to the point of the speaker, how do you get to the equity thing is what I'm kind of having an issue with, right? Because even though that the positions are market rate, they're, as mentioned, upwards of a 15% pay increase. When somebody was out there getting a 4%, they're all over the place. They're not the same, and I'm sure folks are familiar with that. Some positions get a $3,000 raise, some may get a $5,000 raise, some get, you know, $1,000 raise. How do you get, that's what I'm trying to figure out, as input from the council, I don't know if they're already on one side of it or not. How do you get from a place where you've given a large portion of your workforce, you know, 3% or what have you, they call a raise, and then you come back to the other folks that are the non-reps, so you have to give a raise because we have to do this because we can't retroactive this. We don't have the ability, unfortunately, like we do with the union, to go back there and say, oh, by the way, we're going to pay you these wages that were 10 plus whatever it is. So we have to give the raises to these folks soon, now, or whatever. So I'm having, I don't know if there's any input on, can we, that just like off the table? You're going to give these folks a 15% raise, and we're going to call it good and walk on.
Does the council have any more discussion on this matter? And yes, I would like to make a comment to Councilmember Swanson. Councilmember Evans.
Similar to what you were discussing, I already spoke with the deputy mayor today about possibly at our retreat looking at a reorg as well for some of these. So it would be something I think we need to discuss. I think we may have some positions that are on this chart that may not need to be at some point, but you know, at this time, I think moving forward with this and then making that decision later, because obviously we're already in a budget year and it's something for a reorg for next year that I think probably look at and make some savings in other cases, but you know, not necessarily related to this tonight, but it is something that I already have discussed with the deputy mayor, making sure we do have that as a future discussion.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Evans. Anybody else before I make a comment before we take to a vote? Okay. As stated, I do have a comment on this matter, and I want to clear up a few, I wouldn't call them misunderstandings, but usually when information travels like this, a little bit gets misunderstood in this matter. What the intent of this is to bring our non-represented employees whole. Once what we found out was the fact that we do have neighboring cities that are paying what this disparity is. Or the directors of the city were severely underpaid. When I started this my office a couple of months ago, I was faced with a challenge of not only losing non-represented employees, but I was to the brink of losing whole departments. This City Hall has been severely understaffed for a long time, and I've had to look for lack of better terms, quick and dirty, not only incentives, but give people a reason to stay. And that was the intent of this particular matter right now. We are still subject, as Councilmember Evans said, it is going to be discussed in the retreat, but also we are doing another salary survey that should be under consideration at the summertime. All we're doing right now is essentially stopping people from leaving, because this government would not be able to function if we had more people. So what we did was, and there is, I understand our representative member who made a comment, but the facts that we were presented with was the fact that we had different departments that were different, that were distinct by 15%, some were 4%, some were all over the place when it came to that. And the only thing we're doing right now is bringing it up to, as Councilmember Swanton said, an equitable situation. Because quite frankly, in a common sense analysis, well, if we were to lose these people, we would not be gaining anybody if we hired at the rate that we have right now. We would have to up the salary to a competitive level before anybody would consider it. In fact, we have a study of how many people have actually responded to our job openings, and they are very, very little right now. So this was a way to bring our people whole, and we're still going to analyze it and keep it as fair market value as we go. We're not increasing it or inflating it for anything that is comparable in this market. So anyway, I hope that answers some of the council members' questions. Councilmember Watson.
The representative associates are very important to me and all of us here. Every time their contract comes forward, we try and give them the best dollar we can, along with the benefits that go with that position. The non-rep associates in the building just kind of follow along with those kind of rates they get, but they're not adjusted at all. Where you may have someone in water that really demands a higher wage, and you brings it forward to us, that would be under consideration. But those as non-rep employees don't get that benefit, and what they've seen, they're getting paid a lot more someplace else. They need to go somewhere else and get another job. And we can't afford to keep losing those experienced people in our facility, just like all of you experienced people that take care of us each and every day and all your hard work throughout. So not only will we be looking at what you're doing, we'll look at these too. So you have to see how we're taking all in consideration and slowly move it all up where it needs to be, where our city can afford. That's what's always been since I've been on the council that way, and we'll continue to do that.
And again, to answer thank you, Councilmember Watson. Councilmember Swanton was wondering about COLA. What ended up happening, what we found out was that our representative employees are making the 4% increase, whereas the non-representative were making 3%, or at least that's the data that I've been presented with. If that is not true, I do see some you shaking your head. I would like to find out a little bit differently, because right now this is what we're looking at. Okay. 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 Are there any more comments on that? Oh, Councilmember Fuller.
I just want to thank all of you for speaking. It's not easy to come and speak publicly at city council meetings, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here, and we are listening. I don't want to give any misinformation, so we do care. We want to keep our employees, and this specifically was for our non-represented employees to bring them up to par with the rest of Washington State, because we weren't paying them enough. So they had to be brought up, and we are listening. Like I said, we do care. We don't want to lose any of you. We love all of you, and I just appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here, and it has not fallen on deaf ears.
And last comment that I do think is appropriate in our open forum here. This only affects employees. None of the council is getting affected by this. We are who we are, and we're staying at the same rate. In fact, it would be illegal if we were doing this. So it's only city employees that this affects. Okay, are we ready to bring it to a vote? Okay, all in favor say aye, or considering AB 2232 ordinance, D 2232, ordinance amending the ordinance number 1659 relating to salaries for non-represented employees. We have motion. Have you already done that? Okay, right on. Okay, so let's move to a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, ordinance D 2232 has been adopted. Okay, we have Community Development Committee issues. Item A, Madam Clerk.
This is item A, which is resolution 3019. The council motion would be to authorize the mayor to sign a professional services agreement with Jones Incorporated for survey and design services for the sidewalk extension project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on the matter?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Watson.
Thank you. This has been an issue with most of you have been around me long enough about sidewalks. We have too many that don't go anywhere. We have a few more we haven't got to that are real important needs, so we're working on that one. But they were able, with the monies we had, put a lot of small sections together, like the number of Angeline and other ones throughout the city, make it more sense. So instead of doing one long one like I wanted, we're doing a lot of little ones to make them all work together and make it better for more people in the city. So I fully support this. I'm glad they brought it forward to us. It's honestly the long one we're taking care of later on. And this will help everyone get into our city, get on bicycle, get walking. We've seen people come to our council and they've developed been built and they're walking their kids on a stroller and the sidewalk ends. They walk the street, get back on the sidewalk again. So getting more of these done is a huge benefit for our city. So obviously I support this and we'll have more in the future also.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Watson. Do we have anybody else? Any further commentary? Okay, let's move it to a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it has been adopted. And we don't have any executive or closed session at this matter. And I know how the rules of procedure, but I'm going to ask this probably every meeting anyway. Did anybody move to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.